fun has officially come to an end at a Western New York amusement park. Today, Fantasy Island confirmed it is permanently closing. The park that's been around since 1961 says even after investing in its infrastructure, the park just...
Nearly 2 years ago, the amusement park formerly known as Fantasy Island was left for dead by its owner, Apex Parks Group. They stripped the park of nearly all of its rides in an attempt to make a quick buck, and then they ran, leaving the gates of the park unguarded. Urban explorers, scavengers, and vandalists raided the park, and it looked like its storied history was over. The pandemic looked to make sure of that. After attempts by various groups such as Empire Adventures and Fantasy Fun Parks to revive the park, news broke 15 months after the closure that Gene Staples, the man who also saved Indiana Beach, Fantasy Island's sister park under Apex, and Clementon Park in New Jersey, was planning to purchase a lease to operate the park. The deal was confirmed, and soon after that, Fantasy Island was renamed to Niagara Amusement Park and Splash World. Gene Staples and his newly formed company, IB Parks and Entertainment, stuck it to any doubters by opening up Splash World late last summer. This leads us to where we are today. Gene Staples and his company are tasked with rebuilding the amusement park nearly from scratch. The park has been dropping hints on social media about new rides and has announced a few rides publicly. With this park sitting just a 15-minute drive away from Niagara Falls, the ceiling for this new park is sky high. Between parts 1 and 2 of this series, I will be telling you everything we know about this amusement park as of December of 2021. If you're watching this video a few months in the future, make sure to check out some of my more recent content for more recent updates on this park and part 2 of this video. No matter when you are watching this, be sure to give me a like on this video to show that you want me to keep making these videos, and subscribe to the channel for more Niagara Amusement Park content coming very soon. With that said, let's hop into today's update. One of the good things about this park situation is that a few of the park's attractions still remain intact. And even more fortunately, one of those attractions is the Park Star roller coaster, Silver Comet. Silver Comet is a 1999 Custom Coasters International wooden coaster that I personally had the chance to experience in 2017. And I can tell you that this ride will be a great attraction for the park to build around. It appears that work has been taking place on this coaster to return it to operational form, which is a great thing to see. And it appears that this coaster will be ready for opening day. However, one of the more uncertain aspects of this ride is what train will the ride actually run. This coaster used to run one PTC train with L-shaped restraints, similar to the train that runs on Predator, but no one seems to know the whereabouts of this train. I'd have to guess that Apex has it in storage, or they already sold it off for scrap, which likely means that Silver Comet will run a new train. I'd probably bet on the park buying a new PTC train for the ride just like the old one, but it's not out of the question they could buy something like Timberliners from the Gravity Group if this is a cost-friendly option and still allows the coaster to complete the course. With that out of the way, let's talk about the other remaining attractions from Fantasy Island. Some of the other rides that have remained in the park since the park's closure include a Zamperla Samba balloon ride, Herschel Kitty Boats, Satori Candylandia ride, a Zamperla Magic Ring, a Chance Herschel Red Baron plane ride, and a Zamperla Rio Grande Kitty Train. The return of any of these rides remains unconfirmed, but the park will likely reuse some of these rides, especially if parts remain on site. Rides like the Magic Ring and planes only have their bases remaining in the park, so I'd say it's a bit more unlikely that those rides in particular return. The Iron Horse train ride still remains intact, and we do know that at least one of the engines remains inside the park, which is a really good thing. The train at this park is actually a very long ride, and it goes around Silver Comet, so this ride will likely be back up and running for 2022, although it isn't confirmed yet. However, what has been confirmed is that Crankshaft Cruisers, the park's classic antique car ride, will be returning. As far as I know, the track is still intact for the ride and it will be reused. It is unknown if they will reuse the old cars in a refurbished form or if the park will get new cars for the ride. The last ride that remains as a leftover is the Ferris wheel. If you've ever driven to Niagara Falls from America, you've probably seen this wheel sitting up against the highway. This wheel has been constantly plagued with issues over the years. However, I wouldn't be surprised if this ride were to be revitalized. The park is likely looking to evaluate their options, but there's a good chance that they will have this wheel refurbished by chance ride, similar to how the Ferris wheel at Indiana Beach was refurbished under Apex. Overall, the park doesn't have much left from the Fantasy Island days, but as Gene Staples said, the park was filled with carnival rides during the Apex era, so maybe it's for the better that Apex took those rides with them. As of the making of this video, the park has announced 2 new rides so far. One of those rides being an Eli Bridge Scrambler. This ride will just be a classic Scrambler ride, but this should be a great filler ride for the park. I always enjoy a good Scrambler, and this ride should be great for families. It is unknown if the Scrambler is brand new or if it is relocated. The park will also be receiving a mock Caterpillar ride, a smaller Music Express style ride that appears to be mainly geared towards kids and families. Rumor has it that it was purchased from La Feria Chapultepec, Mexico, like some other rides rumored to be coming to this park, and American Dryer Looping at Indiana Beach. It might not sound like there are many confirmed rides for the park, but this is just the tip of the iceberg, as the park is expected to have a full lineup of attractions for the 2022 season. As identified by Jay Wilcox, the park's former maintenance technician under Martin DiPietro, a few very unique rides have shown up on the property, all of which are rumored to be added to Niagara Amusement Park. However, the park came out and said on Facebook that just because a ride shows up on property doesn't necessarily mean it will ultimately end up in the park. This is probably due to the company still being in the decision-making process of where each ride will go in the chain. Niagara Amusement Park is geographically between the 2 other parks in the chain, so it makes a convenient storage spot for rides while the park is closed for the season. But with Niagara Amusement Park in desperate need of all kinds of attractions, at least some of these rides will likely end up at the park at some point. I'd like to thank Logan Benjamin and Jay Wilcox for making this portion of the video possible, as I have been sent their observations of rides arriving at the park. If you were to look at the pictures from late September and early December, you probably wouldn't have guessed these parts belong to a Huss Topspin 2, a smaller version of rides like the former Twister at Six Flags Darien Lake. However, as I'm making this video, Jay was able to verify that the tower and arm sections are currently at the park, leading to the possibility of it being a part of the park's initial ride lineup. It would be something really unique to the park if this ride does indeed end up in the lineup. These are very intense thrill rides depending on what cycle they run, and I was pretty sad when they removed Twister from Darien Lake, so this would be a nice thing to have in the area, especially since how rare these rides are becoming. Pirate ships are a high capacity family favorite found at many parks worldwide. That said, Niagara Amusement Park could potentially join that list by adding this Huss pirate, identified by the ship's 9-row configuration and similar shaping to the one found at Six Flags Darien Lake. This is a family ride essential to any amusement park, so I hope this ends up at the park. This was bar none the toughest ride for Jay to identify, guessing as far-fetched as a Huss Condor Enterprise, Troika, or the extremely rare TriStar model. However, it was eventually identified as a Huss Airboat, a smaller Troika type ride found at amusement parks such as SeaWorld San Diego and SeaWorld San Antonio. Once again, another great family ride here. This Trabant ride may not necessarily be from La Feria, but parts of this ride don't look like a traditional Chance Trabant or Wipeout. So if it is eventually confirmed for Niagara or any of the other 2 IB Parks properties, don't be surprised if the manufacturer isn't Chance. We don't have a great amount of information on this ride, but this would be another fun family ride from what we can tell. So that's going to bring us to the end of today's video. Don't forget to leave a like on this video to show your support for the channel, and subscribe for more Niagara Amusement Park updates coming very soon. Part 2 should be out in a couple days, so stay tuned for that as well. If you have any questions, make sure to put them down in the comments below so I can do my best to include the answers to them in part 2. With that said, guys, I'd like to thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.